Now it says.
There we go.
Sorry, everyone.
Good. Okay. Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
To the
Flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now do a forum confirmation. Start with you, Jack, and work our way down.
Jack De Oliveira, president.
Mike Maddow. Luke Freemuth.
Adam Silverman.
Stephen Turner.
All right, thank you, guys. Now, take a motion to amend or approve the minutes of special meeting 1 and 2 on December 9th, as well as the regular meeting that occurred on December 9th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Unfortunately, I can't see with this set up, so
Oh,
Mike Maddow.
Mike,
And Steve.
Turner.
Mike and Steve, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
no, they're on. Yep. All right, so we're gonna, in light of the fact that we have some people here to discuss the WPCA project, we're gonna move the WPCA project up in the agenda. So we'll start with old business.
I'll make a motion to make that
So moved.
change.
So make a motion to move WPCA project update and old business to the top of the agenda.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business it is.
I don't know, what Rich shared with you guys last time, so. I don't know what you guys have seen or not seen.
Probably just take us from the top as far as what we're considering and
Sure, so, I sat down with Rich and we put together a. Kind of a bonding plan over the next couple of years. For the 25-26 year, we'd be looking at 138,000 to cover engineering costs for. The UV system upgrade. From what we have so far from our draft study, because we don't have a finalized flow study from the flow and I thing yet. That should be in probably later this month. But the UV system is the major restriction on our facility from being able to handle more flow. And then followed by that is our primary effluent or our final effluent pumps and the valves and controls of the SBR system. So those are the flow component parts of it. And then the other parts of the project are sludge thickening because it's killing us budget wise and the building is falling apart in pieces. And storage building. Because with the SBR upgrades, they want us to have one of every piece of equipment on hand. So if there's a failure, because we only have 2 tanks. So if there's a failure, we're able to get back online quicker. And currently we don't have the room to store all of that material. So
you you say they want.
the engineers want us to have more parts on the shelf.
Right.
So we can have a quicker turnaround.
No statutory requirements or anything, just.
Not of yet,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean that's not gonna change when Deep sees the reports and goes through things.
Is that additional equipment in here?
The additional equipment is in here. It's the valves, pumps and stuff like that.
That's the-
So they would be, 27, 28.
That's that includes the backup sets?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, going off the engineer's study, because the UV equipment, from the day we order the equipment, it's a year until it's delivered. So we're looking for the 25-26 year to get the engineering done. And then 26-27 would be equipment order and construction as soon as it came in. And then it would end in 27.
How much would the amount of inventory amount to? The extra parts that
that they want us to have on hand?
I don't know if they broke down all the spare parts in the technical
That
amendment. Let's see. Sorry. Post EQ, so the larger decanters and the SBR parts were 860,000.
So we have everything we need. This is, anything that's in here is to get a backup, basically.
Some of that, the valve replacement is replacing existing valves that are 25 years old and starting to show signs of failure. The SBR upgrade is changing the programming to allow it to run at different levels depending on the flow we have coming in. Right now, we don't have that ability to make those changes. So right now we're stuck at 4 cycles a day per tank. The new program would allow it, so if the tank level hits a certain level in an amount of time, it would allow the program to change from 4 cycles a tank to 5 cycles so that we could process more flow coming in. And that would be a computer program where it would do it by itself.
In doing that, would that help us with obviously our efficiencies and
Yes.
moving?
Well,
forward
it'll
with
help us get it in and out of the plant quicker so
Yeah.
that it's,
Okay, so that we can, all right.
it'll keep us from going into what we call storm mode or flow through. Right now, if we hit a certain level, the valve going out opens up and the valve coming in opens up, and we have to call the state, we have to file reports, we have to tell all the downstream users. It doesn't happen too often. We try really hard for it not to, but
Just thinking about capacity, where are we now? And what does this do?
so if we did everything in the report, it would give us another 500 connections.
For $6 million?
But that would also roughly figuring sitting with
That,
our tax assessor, it grows our grand list like 2.6 million. Figuring between some houses and some apartments, because we know they're not all gonna be houses.
2.6 million in tax revenue, or 2.6 million of value on the grand list,
Value on the ground.
Value on the grand list.
How does that equate?
which translates to,
Times 0.0036, whatever the mill rate is.
Yeah.
But actually.
That one I don't know. I just,
70 times 0.7 becomes.
I think what this comes down to is
I
obviously.
just want to answer
the
the question,
payoff
the open
is-
question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Mike.
Yeah.
98,000, 98,550 of tax revenue.
Per year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's,
So it doesn't pay for itself. I mean,
No, not for a very long time.
and I don't think that we have, I mean. As much as we want to be doing projects that pay for themselves. We also have to look at this as a, public service is what we're supposed to be doing.
that's what I was gonna say. We're at the point where the failures are much larger and much more expensive now. And one of these times it's gonna be to the point where the state is gonna show up and we're gonna end up getting fines that the state fines can equal up to $25,000 a day.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna get consent orders from DEEP, and the consent orders are gonna be, $1 million engineer studies and multi-million dollar updates and all kinds of other things. So we're trying to also stop that before it happens. This was to tell us what we could do to buy more flow, but these are also upgrades we're gonna have to face,
Necessary.
whether we increase the flow or not.
Yeah, and I understand that. It's gonna go to town vote, and I think
Yeah.
that we're just asking the questions that are gonna be asked at that meeting, so I just want to make sure that in the event that we were to approve this to go to the Board of Selectmen, that,
Right, it's,
right now, all we have in front of us is a schedule with what it costs. So it's tough to make a determination of where we are, where this is gonna put us, and then appreciating that. Because I'm hearing a few different things. One, I'm hearing we're, I don't want to say non-compliant, but we're running the risk right now of not being able to service what we have right now.
Correct.
And that will cost us money. Regardless of the 500 extra units that we might gain as part of this, we have a problem that needs to be fixed. And I think that needs to be communicated, is we have a problem that needs to be fixed.
Right.
And it's going to cost us money, and it's not going to pay for itself. It's just a cost of providing that service that we need to incur. If we want to go down the road of it creates extra hookups,
It's a bonus.
it's a bonus, but it also doesn't give me a lot of warm and fuzzies, because it doesn't really create a whole lot of revenue,
Right.
right? It allows us to expand the
So
town.
we didn't look. When they did this study, they looked inside our current sewer use area. We didn't go outside of that because that involves bringing in deep, changing maps and all that kind of stuff. And when you start getting into those projects now, most of the areas that we don't have sewer service in town now would be crossing the river again, which comes with a huge price tag to do that kind of work. So I don't know if looking down that road to get more connections is worth the work that would go into it.
I think the overriding concern again is that either do something now or we're gonna be forced to do it later, and it's gonna be a lot. Like, again, if you get a consent order from deep, everybody in the world's gonna know that there's a consent order from deep, and then it's gonna make your bids rise exponentially because they
Yes.
know you're in a box.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
may I-
Yes.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
So I understand this isn't a windfall, even though it's growth in terms of the grand list. There are many projects around this town that there are developers looking at. One has joined us this evening. One gentleman here tonight, I'm sure has, will, when we get to public comment, fill us in on a lot of good ideas on additional projects in town. There are also multiple building locations in town. The old, we have Clocktown, we've got,
Drawn metal.
Brown Metal Tube, we've got, the old, anyway, there's at least 3 or 4 developers looking to do work in this town, in addition to the gentleman who's here this evening. And I will tell you that, all of that leads to downtown improvement, a whole slew of other things, tangible, intangible. The estimates that we put against trying to quantify what this means to the grand list is an estimate, right? It could go up and it could go down. But I think there's way more upside to unlocking the moratorium and, keeping development rolling in the town of Thomaston.
Fair. And that's not a decision we're voting on, right? That's so.
So
But-
this as presented, was this done with an eye of adding 500 users or was this done to upgrade the plan? I mean,
So
I guess we separated the whole idea of, again, I'm not saying that if the 500 is an ancillary benefit, that's great, but what do we spend to make sure we're in compliance and we don't?
It's gonna be
Well,
roughly the same cost to
Okay.
put us in compliance as it is to
add
add the
500
500 users. The big thing for the 500 users was the UV system and the computer program changes, which the computer itself for the SBRs was 220,000. But that's also equipment that we have to upgrade, so I don't know what the cost would if we kept the program the same. I'm sure probably comparable. And the UV system, again, is something that's on the edge of failure right now and needs updating, so if we're gonna update it, we'd be better to put in something that would handle future flows.
One other comment, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Actually 2. The first one is the sludge thickening, which we included for a variety of reasons. One, it's getting more difficult for us to ship our sludge the way it is in terms of its viscosity. So, doing this will protect us going forward in the future, but it's also simply less costly to ship it, in a more thickened state.
Yes.
Small amounts of money here and there, again, it's not gonna pay itself back.
So
But it will guard against what is coming in the future, sorry.
I took a copy of our 2 December bills, last December, this December. Last December, we did 17 truckloads at an average of 3.1% solids. And the bill was $16,807. This December, over the summer, we did a little bit of work to see what we could do to get our sludge a little bit thicker. This December was 10 truckloads with roughly the same flow to the plant at 3.58%, and we only spent 11,500 for the month. So by changing it the 0.26%, we saved $5,000 a month.
What's our goal with the upgrade as to where we would be with percentage?
The upgrade, we're looking to be around 6 to 6.5% solids. So that would pretty much cut our sludge hauling budget in half for the year. And our current sludge hauling is 210,000. So.
One more thing. I just want to be clear about what's not in the scope of what we're talking about here. One of them is a place to store a lot of those spare parts. You'll see on that first page out in that right-hand column, it says unplanned. That is a storage building. That is, and Bert does have a couple of quotes, 2 different types of buildings, etc. We will need to cross that bridge at some point. The other thing, which is even probably a little bit more important than that, is, as you recall, the Board of Finance commissioned some introductory I&I work. And Bert has some.
I do.
We're basically at the next step of that work. We know where we should go look. But the costs to move to the next step in the I&I are also not in this proposal directly. They are currently going into the capital planning process for next fiscal. I want to make this board aware of where those dollars are.
Do we know what those dollars are yet?
So the camera work to TV the lines. So our flow study broke the area down in different sections of town. The ones that were the worst are the areas that we put together quotes to do the camera work to see what further problems there are. The flow study just gave us, hey, the web area is really bad, or, Bristol Street. So now the camera work would have to be done in those areas to see what is actually there. The camera work is $150,000, and that I believe it was for, I want to say it was 18 miles of pipe to inspect. And then the rough estimate, depending on what we find with the camera work, to line the pipe would be about 500,000. So that's providing the pipe is in a condition where it can be repaired.
That include the beaver dam.
Some of that work includes doing something with the manhole that's underwater behind this high school at the beaver dam. Yes.
Do we have a sense of what the impact of that might be?
As far as
reducing
our I&I. So currently our I&I is almost 50% of our plant flow. So, it all depends on what they find when they do the work. It's hard to say
But these have been where you're looking are targeted as the highest.
Yes, as the worst areas from the flow study. We did some smoke testing in those areas. We found one building that the gutters are hooked to, and that is going to be addressed when the study is complete. And that was really it. I was kind of surprised. I was hoping to find a couple other things there, and we didn't. So. Litchfield would also share a cost of some of the upgrade, because we have an agreement with them for the flow we take from Northfield, so they would be on the hook to pay for a percentage of.
Do you know what percentage that is?
Uh. So our average, so it's broke down by our flow. So the plant's average flow is 1.38. Northfield flow is 0.02 to us. So it's broken down by the amount that we would spend on the project that way. So we break the cost into what it costs per gallon, per million gallon, and that's how they. So, for the whole project, it's like 140,000. Not
Okay.
that it's a big,
That's something though.
it's something.
Yeah, okay.
Any update on the USDA?
There's no update on the USDA. I've been kind of hounding this guy, calling him, emailing, and I haven't gotten anything back. I'm gonna loop back with the guy, Jeff, from the Connecticut Rural Water, and see if he can get us back in touch with him. And go from there, but I haven't had any luck trying to get him.
This is in reference to getting a little help.
Yes.
The USDA offers some grants and low interest loans to small communities for these kind of projects.
Anybody have any other questions?
So there's a bonding schedule attached to that.
Yep.
So because we were able to spread it out over a couple of years, we can do well, we would have to do bands anyway, because you can't bond the money until the project's done. So, but by spreading it out over 3 years, we can borrow in smaller pieces over 3 years and then bond when the project is completed. So what you see is Barry added that debt into our existing debt, and you can see that we, for the most part, stay right within where we like to be with our debt, a very small amount over.
So
With the premiums that we have in the debt service fund, it shouldn't be more than like I don't know,
Eighth.
an eighth, okay, an eighth of a mil increase to the budget for this additional debt.
At today's mill value.
Yes.
Just walk me through that real quick. So we'll start borrowing.
It'll be a ban
A
for the
ban.
first couple of years, so all you pay is interest for
Right.
the first couple
So
of
that
years.
interest is approximately an eighth on the budget over the next few years.
No, once we borrow it and the debt
So
kicked
in
in.
29, when we actually turn it into a bond,
Yep,
that's when, so what's the interest impact?
well, it depends on what interest rate we can get for the
Yeah.
bans, you know.
Do we pull the trigger and make it a bond if it looks like the financial forecast looks bleak from a lending from an interest standpoint?
We could, because we can break it down into pieces. We could say this portion of the project is done, so we're gonna bond this amount. Yeah. I would talk to our bond counsel before we approve the project at town meeting and make sure that we word it properly
Yep.
so that we're allowed to do that.
For the engineering for the sludge, and are we gonna ban that, or are we gonna try to pay for that? Are we gonna do something?
I had included it in the whole
Right.
ban project, but we don't have to. I just,
I like the idea of capitalizing that into the cost of the project.
Wanna make it all part of it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be different if I thought we needed to engineer again in 5 years, but I think it makes sense making it a part of this project. So I presume you guys are looking for a vote to move this to you guys.
I make a motion that we move the project as presented to the Board of Selectmen.
Second it.
Which means you're approving it.
I make a motion that we approve the project as presented and forward it to the Board of Selectmen for action.
And you seconded it, Mike?
I did.
All right. Any comments, questions? All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Back to new business town hall windows.
That's me. So we have been, looking at, you know, the quality and what's happening in the town hall, in terms of the windows. There are 17 that have been identified that need some work. They're very, very bad. They either don't move or, you know, the wind sort of blows right through them. So Joe Olet brought in 3 contractors to take a look at them, just to see if we could do a little bit of rehab. And we got 2 quotes back, one from Chicks Painting at 12,800. The other one from Mad River Painting, 21,560. And the third person didn't feel qualified to touch these windows. At the 12/16 Board of Selectmen meeting, we voted to waive the 3-bid policy, and we approved the project pending Board of Finance approval. The Board of Selectmen approved Chicks to do this. He has worked on these windows before. And he will do not only the repair of the weights and so forth, but he will be replacing some of the, or rebuilding some of the damaged and or corroded wood. He will also be repainting in those areas. We, at the Board of Selectmen, had a bit of a conversation about this. You know, we are trying to keep the windows in good shape, ideally, until we get some clarity on when the next phase of the Opera House happens, which will include windows. And at that point, we will look at the feasibility of replacing some of the windows in the town hall at the same time. Should there be, you know, some cost benefit to doing that all at the same time. So what we're asking the Board of Finance for is $12,800. Just do some repair work and keep what we have functional and as weather tight as we can going forward.
Chicks are the ones that painted the St. Thomas house too. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
They painted this room Saturday.
Make a motion that
I have,
we approve Chicks paint.
Well, let's, we're fund balance.
Or contingency. There's 99,744 left in contingency right now.
Yeah.
So it could come from there, it could come from fund balance, whichever you're more comfortable with.
I'd rather contingency.
Okay.
Luke, if I may.
Yep.
Rich, did either of these proposals include environmental? I'm assuming there's lead paint that they're stripping.
We are gonna seal it off. Yeah, and the some of, or most of the windows are gonna be redone offsite. So I think the plan is to set up a space, maybe in that Seth Thomas space that he used last time, to sort of set up a staging area to manage it that way. But yes,
Okay, because obviously he's gonna be stripping, it says it here. So that means he's gonna have disposal. Just make sure that that's part of this number.
okay.
It shouldn't be too much. How many windows are we talking about?
17.
17. Even still, it probably won't be a whole lot of material, but we don't want to be left holding the bag for that.
Yep.
This quote says that it's valid for 30 days after that time's passed. So are we comfortable that that quote's still good?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve $12,800 out of contingency to contract Chicks Painting.
So moved.
Second. Adam, Steve made the motion, Adam seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And sample bond schedules.
We can skip that. I jumped the gun when I put that on the agenda, sorry.
Okay. All right, well then. That takes care of everything on the agenda. If anybody has anything additional. Now we'll move to the selectmen's report.
Yeah, unfortunately, I still have stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So a couple of things that I just want to bring to the attention of the Board of Finance. The first one revolves around some overages that are coming. I can tell you we are having some budget challenges already. The first one is around elections. And there's a page in your packet that kind of gives an overview of where we've been. I think for most of us who've been on this board, we know we've been underfunding that line, me included. So what I wanted to do is just sort of show you what our thought process was and how we're going to look at next fiscal. I'm about halfway through the budgets. I will finish going through all the budgets this week. Some of them will then go to Board of Selectmen and then will come to you. But in doing so, we were looking hard at the elections budget. You know, honestly, I think the takeaway from this is that overrun line. We have been underfunding that line for close to $30,000. We will be over this year, close to $30,000. So what you're going to see is quite a significant budget request increase for the coming fiscal. You know, we budgeted 47,863. We're going to be asking for 83,022. We built this from the bottom up by looking at what I'm calling the number of events. So referendums, primaries, elections, and town meetings. We went back over the last 2 years and looked at what each type of event costs. You see the assumptions misspelled on the page, but at the bottom of the page, the cost per event. Those are basically the amounts that we've spent over the last 2 years for each type of event. So we've come up with you know, an estimate on where we're going to be in 25, 26, as well as what we're proposing for 26, 27. I don't expect action, but I just wanted to let you know both that we're going to run over this year and that we're going to put a budget request in for next year that right sizes this budget. Any questions?
No, I think not really news, just good to see the numbers.
Just some math, right?
Yeah.
The other two pieces are town hall repairs. We have, and I think you heard me say this at the last meeting, we've been, you know, moving a lot of stuff around while we've been working on the Opera House. And throughout that project, there's been a lot of issues identified that were unplanned. So we are in the same boat. Tracy, do you have a ballpark of where we're going to be for this year?
Probably on that line, we're probably going to be about 7,500 overspent. Would be my best guess.
Okay.
Total budget, I don't know, maybe we can find a little bit of savings. I worry about utilities though. There's been a lot of work going on in the Opera House and we pay the utilities for that. So
And then we've had some unplanned minibus issues, going forward, to the tune of about 3K. So just a quick overview on where we're struggling, from a budget perspective. And that is all I had. Any questions for me?
What was the number for town hall repairs? What was the
7,500.
I think about 7,500.
All in about 40,000 right now.
Yeah, yep.
Tracy, do we have a place we still have some outstanding things for town hall repairs. Do we have a place to find money for that? Or,
Which repairs are you talking about?
well, there's several purchase requisitions that are exceeding the budget.
Right, those are in here. That's part of that number. We had the condenser in the fire marshal's office went, and behind the boiler, the pipes had rotted. So they had to replace some of those pipes, but those invoices are included in that number that I gave you.
And we have a path to funding that. Yes.
That line is currently overspent by 5,500, so. I mean, assuming nothing else breaks between now and the end of the year. Everybody cross their fingers.
I will be back talking about that line again, I think.
Feels that way.
That was it for me. Thanks.
That's it. Great. Tracy?
All right, well, he only talked about the budget, so I guess we're done. No. What you have in front of you is the audit report, which was issued in December. The big binder is the whole audit report. The small binder is the state and federal single audits that were issued. Both are also on the town's website, but just wanted you guys to have a hard copy of them. And the page that you guys care about, you have a copy of in front of you. And that is showing that we added 172,000 to fund balance, which left a fund balance at June 30th of 7,541,879. From that, we had already allocated 350,000 to budget the 25-26 budget. We approved 111,000 for the feasibility study. And at the last meeting, we talked about 170,500 for Elm Street engineering. That hasn't gone to town meeting yet, but I listed it because it is projected to go forward, which would leave a fund balance of 6,910,000, which is 22% of the 25-26 budget. So just to kind of give you a ballpark of where we are fund balance wise. And that's all I had.
Thank you. Member comment? Anybody?
One comment, Jack De Oliveira. Based on these elections budget, I just think it's a good opportunity to let the public know that the meetings are online and to get engaged when they can. Help us save some money rather than going to referendums or primaries. Get involved early in the process, and often we're here to listen.
Thank you. Yeah, I just echo that comment with, I think it's gonna be, as we've had in the past few years, I think it's gonna be a difficult budget season. And so I'd encourage people to get involved early, often, just as Jack said, so that we can take that into account as we're building the budget, as opposed to trying to react to adjust the budget later in the game. So definitely agree with that comment. Thanks, Jack. With that, I'll move to public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tim Bobrowski. My wife Lynn and I are the largest real estate on multifamily taxpayer in this community. We have Thomaston Valley Village. I want to just give you some comment in reference for the grand list on the sewer end of it. That's extremely low, extremely low for 500 additional connections. And the reason why I'm saying that is we have 73 units right now. And, you know, we pay, you know, in the last 19 years, we figured it out, over $2 million to the town of Thomaston in taxes and real estate taxes. So you really have to look at that number in reference to the revenue on the inside. Also, you have to remember, and it wasn't pointed out by Bert, was if theoretically, if there's 500 more connections, there's a connection fee of $4,000 per unit. That's $2 million that would be coming back to you. Right? The other point is, everybody doesn't want to pay taxes and fees, and we all get that. But the additional, you're talking about the additional units that would be going online, that proportion, that ratio naturally would be less. If you follow my reasoning, that it would be costing us less per unit if we had additional 500. I mean, there's some expenses on them. Do you follow what I'm trying to say, or if I'm not making sense? I only have high school education, guys, so, you know, I don't, you know, so you understand that. The other thing, and this is, I'm not trying to throw Tom under the bus, but I am. There was a moratorium on executive seminary, all right, on July 11th, 2025, in reference for the report that Bert is supposedly getting next week. Tom had to extend the moratorium for another 3 months because this report's not done. You guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Bert, $150,000 for this report? Is that what Water Pollution Control paid?
Yes.
All right, and it's not completed yet. All right, and where's the accountability? I'm sorry.
It's not completed because it had to be timed with the seasons to get the high flows and the low flows when the study went on. So it couldn't just start from day one and be done. They had to get all the flow study stuff had to be done during high flow, and then all the smoke testing had to be done during a low flow situation.
So,
So it was a seasonal.
All right, I apologize, I'll take that back, but then when do you anticipate this report?
I would say within the next week or so, the report should be in, but then we have to sit with the engineers and put together everything that we need to do to keep going forward with our project.
All right, now I had my engineer take a look at the technical moratorium and I confer to Tom and Bert. But the way I read it right here, Bert, it says there would be an additional, there's a possibility if you did some of this, that 250 units could be connected with an additional 250 units if all that list was done. That's what I'm not putting words in your mouth. I just I'm just asking that.
Right, but we don't have any funding in place yet for anything, so nothing's moved forward, so we don't have the room for even the first 250 at this point.
All right.
Yeah, and I'd say, you know, we as a board have moved this project forward. I think after this, it's up to the town to make the decision, and then, you know, the moratorium's outside of our purview as well. So yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the comments around, you know, potential impacts and benefits that it could have to the town. I think all that's very important for us. But I think this additional discussion is probably best left for P&Z, the selectmen, and the NWPCA. But I appreciate your bringing that to our attention.
Well, my final point, and then I'll be quiet before the chief escorts me out. Is 2.5 years ago, the town of Thomaston had a forum in reference for affordability and housing as well as apartments. Okay, all right, 2.5 years ago. And, you know, the town, in my opinion, is stagnant. All right, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to keep everything status quo. All right, but there's such a big need to get young people into this community with affordable housing. And there really should be you know, I don't know what the right proper word is, but there should really be a refocus on that issue for the town of Thomaston, because at the end of the day, we're all getting older. You know, and I want to see Johnny Turner stay in town. Well, maybe not, right, Chief?
Yeah.
It's true.
I
No, I mean, again, everybody's building a report on the Northeast and getting out, right? I mean, you know, the North and Washington Depot looks like a museum now. You know, there are no kids up there.
Rich, do you have something?
Yeah, I just want to just give a quick, let you know what my plans are. This goes back to the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday. This will be moved to a town meeting, which I'm hoping to do early February, as early as I can in February, but there's a notice period, so could be mid-February. But, and then I think we need to make some decisions about whether this is a town meeting or a referendum, but I'd like to not make it a referendum. $6 million.
I guess in addition to that, just out of curiosity with Tim's comments, do we know if this is part of our plan of conservation and development, if we've looked for expansion in affordable housing?
Absolutely. We're also not close to the new 830G housing number. I mean, we're close. We're closer than a lot of people. We're like 7.7, but I think we're going to be tasked to get to 10. Unless something gets yanked back out of that legislation.
This was a big part of the P O C D plan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the program that Tim was talking about was also part of P O C D planning, if I'm not mistaken.
Any other public comment?
Luke, just to circle back quickly to something that you guys did approve, Joe that's listening in, he said to let you know that for the windows downstairs, they will be taken off site over the weekends, so there's no issues health wise within the building, and he is holding his price. So
Great.
we're good even though
Appreciate it.
disposal's included. Yep.
Great. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yep.
All right, well, with no further public comment, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
All those in favor?
I
Opposed? Motion carried.